Okay, the 60-second pitch. So feel free to take a screenshot of this because this is the order in which you're supposed to be doing stuff. Um, I won't, I'll try not to belabor this point, but these are the things that you need to hit on. If you are given 60 seconds to pitch, especially if you're going to submit for a grant or for some sort of online pitch competition, and if they say send us a 60-second video, it is not 61 seconds. These people are looking for reasons to unburden themselves with the insane number of submissions that they're getting. And so if your submission is 61 seconds, they will toss it without even looking at it because that's great. That's one more that I don't have to look at because they couldn't follow the rules. I'm not even kidding you. This happens. If you're pitching live and they say, okay, you've got 60 seconds, sometimes people can go over a few seconds if it's live. Um, and sometimes you will honestly get like a gong or a bell that dings or some sort of alarm that goes off, and you don't want that. So just beware. So the name, title, company. I'm Jessie, founder of Twerk. Personal story. So the very first thing I do is I talk about sort of, why I created Twerk. Okay, I'm gonna like pause the recording really quickly because my dog is about ready to go crazy. Okay, everything okay? Okay. So I apologize for that. So anyhow, I say I'm an attorney by trade, but I hate it. Every time I tried to pivot, job sites kept pushing me toward more attorney roles. So that's my story. My story is, and it's quick. Could I say more about my story? Sure. We could all talk more about ourselves and nobody wants to hear it. You just get down to it, get down to the basics, like essentially, why are you the one who started this company? What in the world does this have to do with you? So I'm an attorney by trade, but I hate it. Every time I tried to pivot, job sites kept pushing me toward more attorney roles. So you can feel the frustration. Like I'm trying to get out of it, and the current tools are not giving me any other options. That's frustrating. But then you want to show the problem is bigger than just you. It's not just that I, Jessie, had a problem pivoting. How big of a problem is this? So I had to do some research. So the next thing you want to do is share a quick statistic on how this affects more than just you. So Forbes reported that 57%, and I always say the year though, I say in 2024, Forbes reported that 57% of the US workforce wants to pivot, but job platforms rely on outdated keywords and filters. So there, I'm talking about not only the percentage of people who are in the same boat, who also want to pivot, but I'm talking about why the current tools suck and they're not helping people actually pivot. And I'm doing that by saying, but job platforms rely on outdated keywords and filters. So this is like the quintessential strong way to start a pitch. The solution in one liner. So this is you. Okay. This is where you're like, bum, 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 like I'm coming in, I'm going to solve this problem. So I created Twerk. I want you to say that, like, so I created, and then the name of your product or service, or if it's your team, so we created, that's fine if you have like co-founders and stuff. So I created Twerk, a job platform that uses AI and swiping instead of keywords and filters to match job seekers with recruiters for roles they actually want. Think Tinder for jobs. Like bada bing, bada boom. That's there. The business model, they want to know how in the world you're going to make money. So I say we operate on a freemium model with a 19.99 premium monthly membership. That's not all that we do, but I'm just using this for the purposes of teaching you all. But try to keep it in one sentence if you can. Then talk about the market. So this means you have to do some research. And if you're going to use ChatGPT, do yourself a favor. Do not rely on ChatGPT as though it doesn't hallucinate. Every single one of us in this space knows that there are hallucinations. And what you want to do is make sure that ChatGPT cites its sources. And then you have to go and check out those sources and make sure that they're not like BS. These are investors who, if they like you and like what you're talking about, they're going to be digging into these numbers and they're going to want to know how you got these numbers. And if you tell them, oh, I just did ChatGPT, you lose all credibility, all. So ChatGPT should be used as a first step tool. I mean, you go there and then you springboard off into additional research, or it helps you get to the sources that you need to get to. And then you actually check out those sources and make sure they're not total horseshit. Like Wikipedia, you can't say according to Wikipedia. I have gone in and edited Wikipedia pages. Anybody can do it. So that is not a good source. But like Forbes, that is a good source, depending on what it is that you're doing, like the Wall Street Journal. It could be, the New York Times. It could be like Better Home and Gardening, depending on your space, Psychology Today. Get a good reputable source for what it is that you're doing. Okay. JAMA, if you're doing anything that's, medicine led. Okay. So you want to go ahead and get to the market and say what the market looks like. There's something called a top-down and a bottom-up approach. I am not going to belabor this, okay? But you essentially want to know your TAM, SAM, and SOM. We'll go over that later. It's your total addressable market, your serviceable addressable market, and your serviceable attainable market. We'll go over that later. But the market basically is you want to choose a geographical location and you want to know exactly what market you're talking about. So I'm talking about the online recruiting market. I'm not even talking about the recruiting market. I'm going after the online recruiting market. So you have to be specific enough to what it is that you're doing. And for the purposes of my pitch, I'm limiting it to the United States. And then I'm letting the investors know, hey, we're going to capture at least 1% of it. And here's how with our team. Your team slide, not slide, but what you're saying about your team should go right after the market, because they're going to say, okay, how in the world are you going to capture this 1% that you say that you're going to capture? And it's with your team. Your team is how you're going to do it. So anyway, for the market, I say the online recruiting market is worth $12 billion in the United States, and we're going to capture at least 1% of it. So I know that if an investor wants to meet with me afterwards and say, okay, where'd you get that $12 billion figure? I have that ready. I know I have all my citations ready to go. I didn't just make it up. And then I always say, and how we have a team of amazing nerds. Now, my company's name is Twerk. Okay, we're edgy. And so me coming up there and saying we have a team of amazing nerds is funny. It's not going to fit with a lot of businesses. Okay. So that could fall flat if sort of being edgy is not what you do. But this is what I say, because I only have 60 seconds. I don't have time to go over each team member and what is it they do. So I just say we have a team of amazing nerds who have helped tech companies IPO. Or sometimes I'll say we have a team of amazing nerds and we have a combined over 100 years of experience in recruiting and tech. Something that's short and to the point and basically lets the people you're talking to know how you're going to be successful. So saying that I have a team where two people have helped, we've helped two tech companies IPO, that helps investors know, okay, two people on my team have helped other companies cross the finish line. Or if I say we have over 100 years of combined experience, they know, okay, so you guys aren't just like a couple people who decide to do this one day. You've actually been in this space. It gives them confidence that you guys are the right people to do the thing that you're trying to do, because they don't want to lose money. That's what it all boils down to. Then you go through attraction. So I say our MVP is ready and we're launching our beta to 750 testers by the end of this month. Or I say now, my pitch has changed a little bit. I say we have over 900 job seekers on our beta waitlist. MVPs aren't getting funded anymore, so an MVP might not be the best thing to say, but if you have finished an MVP, that's probably still a good thing to say, that way they know what stage you're at. And then you conclude by, you have to say the thing that's hard, and that's talking about money. A lot of people have a difficult time talking about money. You need to say what it is you're asking for, you're looking for. Are you raising? Yes or no? If you're not raising, you can conclude by saying, we're not raising at this time, but we're here to meet people. We would love to meet you if you're interested in this space. Sometimes that takes the pressure off. But if you are raising, say so, and say, instead of going into like, oh, this is our raise and here are our terms, you've only got 60 seconds. This is a 60-second pitch. So you end by saying, join our company to raise whatever it is that we're raising, and here's what we're going to do. Or join our $600,000 pre-seed round to help us reach 8,000 job seekers and $300,000 in revenue. So the people want to know what their money is going to go to, and all the investors care about is how their money is going to make more money. They don't really care that their money is going toward your ongoing operations. They will, and it could, but they don't. That's not what they want to hear. What they want to hear is, how is this going to matter in my pocketbook? So that's why for my 60 seconds, I don't say, well, we're raising $600,000 and then 200,000 of that's going to go to tech, and 200 is going to go to sales, and 200 is going to go to a marketer. They want to ultimately, okay, so what? What does paying for those things mean in terms of the business and getting more money? So I skip that middle stuff for my 60-second pitch, and I say, well, it's going to help us because we're going to get 8,000 job seekers and our first $300,000 in revenue. And the reason why I know is because I've done my financial modeling, and I've based it on like surveys, and I've done like pilots, and I've done all this other stuff. So I have all of this research and math to back up what it is I'm going to say. And when they want the next meeting with me, I can go into greater detail. Okay. So this is what your 60-second pitch has to have. And, if you're not raising, then you say, we're not raising right now, but we would love for you to, join our network or be on our newsletter, and please, whatever, feel free to come up to us afterwards if you want to be on our newsletter, or I'd love to meet you, whatever. Just make sure that you wrap it up. But have your have this whole thing memorized, but make sure that your ending line is strong. I see some people, they do a whole pitch in the end is like, so, we would just really like to like talk to you. And if there's anybody who might be interested, then, if you could like just come up to me afterwards, we just really love that. That's kind of weak. You want to go in and have it strong. Know what you're going to say. If I wasn't raising, I'd say, we're not raising in the moment, but we are looking to build relationships. So we would love to come meet you. And especially if you're in the recruiting tech space, I'm just making it very specific. Like, come up to me. I'd love to start our relationship with you. Whatever. But I always, since I am raising, I say, here is the round that we're in. Here's the amount of money we're raising. Here's what it's going to do. I know I spent a lot of time on the 60-second pitch. It's because you will find the shorter the pitch, the more time you spend on it, the harder it is. It is so difficult to get what it is that you're doing in your business into 60 flippin' seconds. So yeah, I spent a lot of time on this slide because it takes an awful lot of effort to do this. I wanted to tell you that, I remember. Some judges will say things after your pitch, whether it's a 60-second, 2-minute, 3-minute, say whatever. You're trying to get as much information in the allowable time as possible. And some people will say, well, I really would have liked to have heard more about this. And that can be really frustrating to hear because you're like, are you not aware that I only have 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes? And if you're hearing the same thing from a bunch of different people and you've done a bunch of different pitch competitions and they're all saying that they really want to hear the same thing, listen. Don't just have the attitude of like, well, it's only 60 seconds. I don't have time. That could be true, but that's how you could end with that and say, and I know I didn't have time to go to market, but I would love to talk with that about you because we have a really interesting idea or something like that. But make sure that you're paying attention to what people are telling you, but also don't get too distressed if a person here or a person in there says, well, I would really like to hear that. Use that instead of getting discouraged or defensive, use that as an opportunity to say, well, that's a great coincidence because I would have loved to have had the time to talk about it. And I would really appreciate a follow-up meeting. How's this Monday at 1 p.m. or next Friday at 9 a.m. and see if they'll take a meeting with you. So don't get discouraged, be proactive instead. So that was a very long slide. Okay, I'm not going to go over all of the other ones like that because it's going to be too long. We're already running very long on this presentation, but feel free to go ahead and let me see. I can't see if the slide is actually showing up in full. So I'm going to do that. Hopefully you can see it in full if you couldn't before. Take a screenshot, go through it. If nothing changed from the previous slide, then I went ahead and I put it all in caps and I didn't bold it. If anything changed, then I bolded it here. So I added some more like, product features, bullet point, what your competitors don't do, business model, like you can go into more detail with your business model. You can include your go-to-market strategy in a 2-minute pitch. And then your ask can be a little bit more detail. And you have time for an outro too. So join Twerk to match job seekers and recruiters 1 swipe at a time. That's my outro. Okay. So look at this, think about it, and feel free to always, follow up with me if you have any questions. 3-minute, I did the same thing with 3-minute pitch. Basically, if you have, something in bold here, then that's new, or I've added to it. I was able to put more detail in there. Okay. Take a screenshot there if you want to. And all right, your 5 to 7-minute pitch. This is almost always done with slides, almost always. You still should memorize it so you are not all over the place, looking back behind you, disorganized. But this you should probably do with slides, and you want to really emphasize your team and your traction. So yes, you're going to go over the other things, but your team and your traction, those are probably the 2 most important slides that you could possibly have. And you tend to have more information crammed on that slide. I like to have slides fairly clean. Obviously, in the slide that I have for you, this slide deck, it's full of information. And when I'm pitching investors, there's no way I have this much writing on my stuff. But teaching a class versus pitching to investors is like a huge, huge difference. So yeah, don't do what I'm doing right now for investors. All right. Let's see. Don't overdo it on a long list of features. Some features might be neat, but they really don't care about features unless they move the needle, meaning unless they address your customers, whoever's going to be paying for your product. If the feature you're talking about is addressing that specific pain point, then they care about the feature because that's what people are paying money for and that's how they're going to get their money back. But if it's just additional features that just seem neat and make you look smart, they honestly don't care about that almost all the time. They won't care about that. So think about the market. What is the opportunity? The business model has it been tested? How did you arrive at that model? Did you run focus groups? Did you survey anybody? And these do not have to be expensive focus groups or expensive surveys. There are really cool ways to go about doing this where you can save money. And I think I'm going to make book recommendations at the end. So I don't want to like ruin it now, but I'll try to remember to do that at the very, very end. If for some reason I forget, feel free to email me. But there's like a book that goes over exactly how to do this without spending a whole bunch of money. Your team, how is your team going to execute this money-making product? That's what they want to know. If you're solo, then they want to know if you have any advisors. If it's just you and only you and nothing but you, it can flag the idea that you have not been able to convince anybody to join you in any way, shape, or form. So even if you don't have a co-founder, if you don't have any advice, nobody who's helping you at all, unless you are a previously exited founder and really know your stuff, that's going to be probably a red flag. So you should have at least an advisor who knows what they're doing. And there's a way to get advisors. I'm not going to go over all of that right here because this could be a whole weekend long presentation if I wanted it to be. But just think about your team, who's on your team, and how they are uniquely qualified to help you bring this thing to market. Traction, are there customers? If there aren't any customers, if you're pre-launch, is there a wait list? So like Twerk, we have a wait list. Are any pre-orders? Have you been able to like convert any of those people even before you launch? That usually looks pretty good. Twerk has been able to do that. Go to market. How are you going to get this out to the masses? So yeah, you've got a wait list. That's nice. And then you'll be able to launch your wait list. And then what? Then what are you going to do? What's your plan? What's it based on? Is there any evidence that your plan for go-to-market is going to work? How expensive is that going to be? So a lot of times people talk about ads in social media or influencers. These are very expensive ways to get customers. And it's not that you should neglect those if they're not going to work, but it means that your cost per customer or your customer acquisition cost, your CAC, that's going to be very high. And that means that your margins are going to be lower. And so that's going to be kind of a red flag to investors. So just think about that. Are there any other, unique creative solutions for your go-to-market strategy? And just think about it. But it has to be something that's going to work. So it needs to be based on evidence.